Hey listeners, this is Jesse over at Sidle Insurance. I recently had the opportunity to sit down with a local race car driver, Scotty McCray. We had a nice chat about dirt track racing, and we also discussed Sidle Insurance Agency's annual toy drive for Seneca Santa, a program that Scotty and I are both quite passionate about. Our clients may remember Scotty from our Jingle and Mingle event last December. There, he wasn't racing fast cars, instead, he was performing holiday music to help raise donations for the toy drive. If you'd like to learn how you can contribute to this year's toy drive, stick around until the ending of this recording, or check out the description for more information. Thank you so much, and now, time for the podcast. Welcome to this special podcast recording presented by Sidle Insurance Agency, servicing the Finger Lakes region and beyond for over 50 years. My name is Jesse. I'm a licensed property and casualty insurance broker here in the state of New York, and for over 8 years I've worked for Sidle Insurance as their media specialist. Speaking of 8 years, this holiday season marks our 8th annual Christmas toy drive and our 5th year partnering with Seneca Santa. More on that shortly, but first, I want to bring on my guest for the day. With me today is owner and driver for 88M McCray Racing, a dirt track racing team that compete across New York State's Southern Tier. It's Scotty McCray. Scotty, welcome to the show. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Great, I am well. I'm excited to chat about your team and the toy drive today. Last December, you performed at the Sidle Insurance office with your Church Praise team during our Jingle and Mingle toy drive that we hosted. That was a lot of fun. This year, inspired by your passion for the work Seneca Santa does in our community, you got in touch with me and stated you wanted to help grow and promote the toy drive a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great thing in the community, and we always love giving back.
All right, well, that brings us here. Before we dive into what Seneca Santa means to you personally, though, let's just take a moment to share what the organization is all about. Seneca Santa is a volunteer-run nonprofit that's been serving Schuyler County since the 1940s, providing Christmas gifts like toys, books, games, and hats, gloves, mittens, and scarves for local kids in need. Sidle Insurance is based right here in Schuyler County, and Scotty, you and I both grew up here in the community. I know you have a real fondness for the program. Can you share a bit about why Seneca Santa resonates with you so much?
I remember when I was a kid getting Seneca Santa gifts or going to the Meet Santa workshop type things, and we didn't have a lot of money growing up. It's nice to be able to come back and give back to that now.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing how just a few thoughtful gifts can leave such a warm impact on a young person, you know? And when you grow up and you realize where those gifts come from.
How they do it's so cool. I think usually they have the fire departments and stuff hand them out, so it's cool, as a kid to see that fire truck pull up and then they have the gift for you, so it's cool. I got this little G.I. Joe when I was 10 years old, and somebody donated that. Now, not looking back at it now, once I'm grown up, I understand more of that, but as a kid it was just a cool G.I. Joe that the firefighter gave me. So
a little bit of Christmas magic.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Well, and I mean, there is still some magic to it, the kindness of other people. There's something special about that. That's what brought you here to talk with me today. Last year, you and your team donated $300 worth of toys to Seneca Santa, which is pretty awesome that you guys, took that on yourselves to just go ahead and do that. Was it your own experiences, you think, that inspired that donation?
Being able to have that money and to be able to give back, that's really what I love to do, And that's kind of what we're going to do again this year. We're going to kind of do our own thing and kind of spark that off through our Facebook page and, through our social media, and maybe try to grow that a little more this year. So
You mean the racing team?
Yeah.
Yep. That's cool. Racing, speaking of, it can get pretty competitive, but the local scene, they've got no problem working together as a team, making a difference in this community. An example that comes to mind is the Christmas in July event that you took part in back in the summertime. Care to talk about that a bit?
At a lot of the local tracks, they do like a Christmas in July thing, and I know Outlaw Speedway does it. I took part in the one at Woodhall Raceway where I race weekly. There's a donor, this year it was Wilcox Performance. They're a racing transmission builder company out of Pennsylvania, but they're big sponsors of the track, and they put together this event where we, as the drivers, we can donate money, whatever we can do, and they buy bikes for kids. I think this year we gave over 30 bikes away. We were able to raise $700 and give 7 bikes away just through, a post on Facebook.
Wow.
It just kind of bounced around, and we just kept adding money, and next thing you know, we had 7 bikes to give away. So that was pretty cool. We gave away shirts and autographed pictures and stuff like that, just to see a kid smile. It was pretty cool.
Do you remember off the top of your head how many drivers were involved in that event?
I think we raced 7 different classes at Woodhall Raceway, and there was probably 15, 20 drivers out of the group that, some of them did 2 bikes. It's kind of whatever you can do to help out. And a lot of times these kids they don't have the opportunity to get a new bike every year or whatever. So to be able to give back to that, it's incredible.
It's got to be kind of cool to get a bike from a race car driver too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and the other thing they do is that they put stockings on them and kind of put it out a couple weeks before, where we can give, shirts and pictures or, any merchandise that we have that we sell. We just kind of throw into a stocking. I think I gave away 10 or 12 shirts and a bunch of pictures, signed pictures and stuff. And to us, we think we're just backwoods, redneck, dirt car drivers, but to these kids, we're heroes, We're the people that can go out on the track, and they go to the track every week and look up to, It's pretty neat, pretty humbling.
Yeah, it's not mutually exclusive. You can be a backwoods race car driver and a hero. It's possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. Our toy drive here at Sidle Insurance, it's been growing every year. Our clients and community members have been so generous, and it's amazing to see the progress over the years. And we've talked a lot about what you've been up to off the track, but since we're on the topic of progression, and I've got you right here, I did want to point out that progress has been kind of a big theme for you, I think particularly honestly this year. You made a jump in classes this season. Can you tell us a bit about what that transition was like? And maybe, for a layman like myself, tell me a little bit about the racing aspect of that.
We started racing 4 or 5 years ago. We actually started in go-karts. Extreme budget go-karts was the class I raced in. It was the chassis had to be 15 years old, and it was a $100 motor from Harbor Freight. It was super simple, super cheap. I think we raced that season for less than $1,500. It was super cheap. The following year, we went to a little bit bigger motor on the go-kart, and we raced a little bit. And then 2 years ago, we went to 4 cylinders, and that was a huge jump, just going from go-karts to a stock car, right? And bigger track, a little bit faster, just different style of racing. And then this year, we went to the 602 Crate Sportsman, which is a Northeast modified. And the biggest transition there, and I'm still trying to get used to, we sit in the center of the car, right? So we don't sit on the left side of the car. We sit right dead center. The drivetrain runs right between our legs. And so when you go into the corner, it's a counterweight, right? It's a big pivot, a big pendulum. So when you go into the corner, you really seriously feel like you're going to flip the car over.
Oh my goodness.
And it doesn't. You got great big tires, and it's a lot of horsepower. You're putting a lot of rubber to the ground and a lot of horsepower to the ground. So that was a big difference for me, figuring out how to drive that in traffic. It's an open wheel race car. Your front tires are wide open, so if you make contact enough on those front tires, you could be going for a ride that you don't want to go for,
So speaking of, early on in the season, I know you guys had to cut a few races short, and actually before we got on mic here, you were talking about you had a little bit of a collision over the weekend here.
Yeah.
Did it take time to get used to the new car or get it dialed in the garage? Did it take time to kind of figure out what you were doing, or was it just sort of getting used to?
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out what we're doing,
Fair.
It's like I said, going from stock cars, even from stock cars to these cars, it's a whole new ball game. You're going from DOT tires that you'd put on your everyday normal car to race tires that are 15 inches wide, and they take a lot of prep. You got to grind them, you got to sipe them, you got to cut them, you got to do all sorts of things to them to make sure that they're ready for Saturday or Friday night, whichever day we race.
So you've got a team. Who's doing all of this work?
A lot of it, my dad and my brother, they help me out. My father-in-law helps me out a little bit. A lot of it's me though, because my dad and brother live an hour away,
Sure.
So it's tough for them to get down every night of the week or whatever, but they come down and help out when they can. Mm-hmm. My cousins help me out. They come from the racing community, so they kind of understand a little bit more where we need to be and where we need to go.
It really does take a team, huh?
Oh yeah, you couldn't do this by yourself. I know there's a couple guys that do it, and I don't know how they do it.
You don't envy them.
Yeah, we go to work, we work every day, and then we come home, and it's most nights it's 10:30, 11 o'clock before I leave the garage. So
all to go fast, right?
Yeah, all to go fast and turn left. So.
Yeah. Also, just speaking of like a team though, so obviously there's a lot of team effort going into prepping the car. What about once you get racing? You know, people in your corner kind of keeping you going?
Oh yeah, I tend to get really excited really quick. So sometimes when things don't exactly go quite right, like you said earlier in the season, we had a lot of mechanical errors and mainly of our own doing.
Sure.
Just not exactly tightening all the bolts or making sure that everything was perfectly right. It's close enough mentality, and when you're in these race cars, in these modified cars, close enough is not good enough, right? So having that team at the track, even if it's with the safety gear that we have to wear, I need help getting in the car. I need help strapping in. I need that help. So having that, the team at the track to do whatever, that's you got to have it.
A little bit in theme with just what we've been talking about. It's it's nice to have a community around you that's going to back you up.
Oh yeah.
So is your season concluded at this point, or do you have any more races left at the time of the recording here?
Yeah, no, we raced last week at the Dutch Hogue at Outlaw Speedway. That was our last race of the year.
And heading into the off season here.
Yeah. Yep.
So what does that look like for McCray Racing?
We're gonna put the car in the garage and tear it apart. We wrecked it up pretty good last week at Outlaw Speedway, so there's some damage that needs to be attended to, but a lot of that is just it is what it is. It's racing, so we'll pull everything apart, put it back together with hopefully a little bit better parts. We're gonna try to change up the suspension a little bit this year, go to a little bit more modern suspension. We're still running on 15 years ago type of suspension instead of the coil springs that they run on today. So we're going to try to update it and go from there, kind of keep growing our program a little bit and see what we can do a little bit better next year.
What tracks are you planning on racing next year?
Next year we're gonna call Woodhall home again.
Okay.
It's kind of it's a different place, right? It's the toughest bull ring they claim to be. It's a super tight track. It's super small. It's a lot of fun to race on high banks, and so we're gonna call Woodhall home again. We're gonna do a little bit more at Outlaw Speedway this year. We kind of started to find something before we wrecked at the Dutch Hogue, so that's a pretty fun track to race at, a lot faster. And then there's always the short track Super Series races that we're going to try to catch a couple of them next year and try to get on the short track Super Series races are on Flow Racing, so we get to go on TV, right? And I think that's everything that most of us, backwoods racers aspire to be on, right? Is on
backwoods racing heroes, right?
Yeah, backwoods racing heroes on TV, and it gives our sponsors a chance to get out there and get on TV.
Sure. Yeah.
We'll be around the area.
Awesome. Well, Scotty, I really appreciate you coming on and doing this with me. Do you have any final thoughts you want to say about the toy drive or Seneca Santa or anything like that?
Yeah, we'll just pay attention to our Facebook page and stuff. Here in the next few weeks, we'll be coming out with a little bit more of what we can try to do. Maybe we can get a little bit more than $300 this year to give to the toy drive and buy toys with. Maybe people can help, and that's the best part of it. And really, we can't do this without our sponsors. So thanks, and hopefully we can get you back next year.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on the show, Scotty.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, listeners, I hope you've enjoyed this special Sidle Insurance podcast. Thanks again to Scotty and the 88M McCray Racing team. If you'd like to support the 8th annual Sidle Insurance Toy Drive, here's what you need to know. The drive runs from Monday, November 17th, 2025 through Friday, December 12th of the same year, of course. All donations to our drive go directly to Seneca Santa, supporting children across Schuyler County, New York. If you'd like to contribute, please note that Seneca Santa asks all donations are new and appropriate for kids aged 2 to 12. Monetary donations are also welcome. Please make checks payable to Seneca Santa, Inc., and mail them to P.O. Box 22, Watkins Glen, New York, 14891. If you don't currently have the means to donate, you can still contribute by helping to spread the word. You can start by sharing this podcast with others and by encouraging folks to donate to the cause. Thank you so much for helping us spread a little joy this season. Happy holidays, have a Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year.